It has been some time since I've made a book video and we're back. Somehow we're already like over halfway through the year. So I thought I would do a mid-year check-in to see like how many books I've read, what I've enjoyed, what I haven't, and what I'm excited to read. I have only read 9 books this year so far. I'm trying to read 30 around that, but I don't really care how many books I actually read. I just want to enjoy the ones that I am reading. And the first one I read in January was Earthlings by Sayaka Murata, and I really loved her other book, Convenience Store Woman. So I thought, you know what, I'll probably like this as well. And I did. I rated it a 3.5 out of 5 because I thought it was a very similar concept as Convenience Store Woman. Like the whole overarching theme was about not conforming to society's expectations. I really like reading books like that because my life so far hasn't really followed a traditional path. Like I didn't go to university straight away. I then ended up doing a creative degree and now I'm trying to be an artist and content creator. So books like that are really affirming to me and make me feel confident about my path and what I'm doing. So that's why I did enjoy this book. But like I said before, it didn't feel like anything new from her. There was also a lot of very traumatic things that happened at the start of this book. I just had no idea they were going to happen. There's nothing on the back that like indicates that much trauma and also that much graphic description of it. So if you're worried about that type of thing, definitely look up the trigger warnings before you read it. But yeah, I do enjoy how it kind of went from very rooted in reality to all of these alien things are happening and everyone kind of starts to lose their minds a little bit. Yeah, if you're looking for something a bit weird, I would go for this one. I also finished Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This I loved, like really enjoyed. It's about a female photographer who's kind of like a dominatrix and likes to get pictures of male subjects in very vulnerable positions and situations, and the whole way through you're kind of teetering on the edge of, is this like morally okay? Is it art? Is it abuse? It's a very challenging book in that sense. The protagonist, you kind of hate her, but you also are like, go on girl. Again, this book is similar to the first book that I read by this author, which was Penance, in the fact that it's just morally ambiguous and you're not really sure whose side to take. I rated this book a 4 out of 5. Actually, I'd recommend any book by her to everyone, which is why I also picked up She's Always Hungry by the same author, Eliza Clark. Again, I rated this 4 out of 5 stars, and this was a collection of short stories, which I don't read too often because I find it hard to connect with the characters in the story when it's so short. The annoying thing with short stories is that I can't really remember any of them, but I do remember it being quite graphic in like a gross and gory way, especially the first story, which was about a very young girl who was dating an older man, and she's just a teenager. She hates her skin and her body and all of that, and like it's kind of really gross. There's also a guy who kind of tries to save this woman from a bad situation that she was in, and he like takes charge and just doesn't really care about her feelings, and he thinks he's doing this to help her, but really he's just doing it to show that he's this strong man. And that was a really interesting take. Honestly, I can't remember any of the other ones, but it was entertaining whilst I was reading it, and again, I'm so looking forward to anything else that she puts out. And then where's my other book? Where's my other book? Then I read Gender Theory by Madeline Doherty. I was so happy with this book up until the last 10%. I rated it a 3.5, but the first half was really great, and it was about a girl who has a best friend. She's kind of in love with this best friend and they have this really tumultuous relationship. She also starts a relationship with a professor, and that's really complicated because he's much older and blah blah blah. She's struggling basically. She also has issues with drugs and alcohol, I'm pretty sure, and she also has something wrong with her body and her periods that give her excruciating pain, and she's just not sure how to deal with it and what to do about it. The whole like first 90% felt very raw and relatable, and it was really good representation for a girl who is struggling with her sexual identity. But then in the last like 10%, I don't want to ruin it, so I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but it kind of just felt that all of the rest was erased and the whole exploration of liking girls kind of just went out the window, and that just pissed me off because I was like, why does being fixed mean that you're straight? Maybe I've said too much. That's kind of how it ended. Maybe just stop before the last chapter. Next, I read the 4th book in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, which I love. It's one of my favorite series, and I didn't realize there were 3 more books. I actually got this at a book swap at my work. One of you guys donated the next 3 books in the installment and I got them, which is so cool. This definitely wasn't as good as the first 3 books, but I like how I didn't really feel any difference in the writing style because the last 3 books are written by a completely different author. It was still action-packed. I still love Lisbeth, she's amazing. The plotline was really detailed and just as exciting as the first 3. If you're umming and ahhing about trying the new author, I'd say do it. Next, I wanted something a bit fun. I think I was going through a bit of stress at university and picked up Ace of Spades, which I've seen on TikTok and Instagram for a really long time. And this is about 2 black students who attend a majority white school. I'm pretty sure they might be the only 2 black students, and it's a private school, so everyone's like super rich and privileged. The boy is a scholarship student, but then basically someone starts messing with them and getting them into trouble, kind of trying to ruin their lives. It's a bit like Pretty Little Liars mixed with Gossip Girl and throw in some racism. I thought the pace of the book was really good because I kept wanting to read more, and it definitely highlights an issue within schools like this. The twist was very interesting, let's just say that. Next, I read an amazing book and I rated this 4.75. It was Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. It's about 2 young girls who are at school going through all of like the normal teenage things, but then they're also trying to figure out their sexuality. It's set in rural Ireland, which is one of my favorite places to be. It's always so beautiful and it feels really real. It's pretty heartbreaking. The main character, you're kind of just like, come on girl, come on. I know it's so scary, but like, just be strong. If you're looking for heart-achy, sweaty summer romance, then I guess this is kind of it. It's not a perfect love story, and that's the type of one that I like to read. Great book. Next up, I read Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. I've been meaning to read her books for ages because I loved Big Little Lies, the show. And this is about a family who are incredible at tennis. They have 4 children and all of them were amazing, and the parents were their tennis coaches. But years in the future, the mum goes missing and no one knows where she's gone, what's happened, but there's indication to say that the dad was involved. The story is all about trying to figure out what happened to her, and it splits between 2 timelines of before she went missing and after. And one thing that is a bit different to other stories that I've read like this, there's this random girl who's involved and she's a little bit like suspicious. She just turns up at their house one day and becomes involved in their family. I was entertained the whole way through. I did think the ending was a bit annoying. Like I was just like, come on, you could have thought of something a bit better. But overall, I was pretty happy. The last book that I have read so far this year is Natural Beauty by Ling Ling Huang. Again, this is a book that I found at the book swap and I'm so happy I did. It's about an Asian American girl who is incredible at piano, and she gets taken to a conservatory, which is like an intense music school. And while she's at the school, unfortunately, her parents get in a car accident. They have to be put on like heavy support. So she drops out of the school in order to help pay for the medical bills. And then one day, this kind of ethereal, stunningly beautiful woman finds her and recruits her to start working at a spa type shop. It's like a beauty shop. You can get procedures done that are really weird and not used anywhere else in the world. Some weird things start happening. It's also very graphic. Again, I'd look up some trigger warnings because there are some horrible things that happen to her. And then there's this massive crescendo at the end, which was very intense. And I actually had to read it twice because I was like, what just happened, but I loved this. Reading this book made me want to pick up the newest book by this author. It came out pretty recently and me and two of my other friends all bought the book and we want to read it together. And this book is called Immaculate Conception. So with this, we're moving on to books that I am excited to read. Ling Ling's stories tend to incorporate some type of medical enhancements and sciencey stuff. That's the technical term. So where there was all of like the beauty procedures in this book, this one's about a new procedure where you can kind of hook yourself up to someone else's brain and experience someone else's traumas, their creativity, just everything about them so that you can get closer to them in friendship or in a relationship. And this one is about two friends who decide to do it and they become really codependent on each other. And I just think that's a very, very interesting concept that I've never heard of before. And I already know that I like her writing, so I don't think I'm gonna be disappointed. Another book I'm super excited for is Butter by Aseko Yuzuki. If you don't know about this one by now, not sure where you've been, but it's about a female chef who gets linked to some serial killer type stuff and the police are investigating her for killing lots of men. I don't know, that sounds really exciting. Maybe a bit of dark humor is kind of fitted into this and I like that. And it's really big, so I feel like this is going to be something I can really delve into and get lost in. So yeah, excited for this. And then I'm actually going on holiday. I have to leave in 15 minutes. I have to leave in 15 minutes and these are the books that I want to bring with me. I am currently reading What a Way to Go by Bella Mackie, and this is from the same author of How to Kill Your Family, and I read that years ago and I really enjoyed it, so I thought I'd pick this one up. And so far so good. It's not the best book in the world, it's not the worst, it's entertaining. The story follows a family who are super rich, and at the dad's 60th birthday party, he gets found impaled by a spike in the lake. The plot then just follows the family trying to figure out what happened to him and why, and you're not sure whether they're involved or if it was some enemies that he had. It doesn't feel real, it doesn't feel intense. It's just one of those read it on a beach type books. But so far, so good. I'm like halfway through. I'm excited to see what happened to him. And then the next two books I'm gonna bring with me are Dogs of Summer and Page Boy. Dogs of Summer is about two best friends and one of them kind of becomes a bit obsessed with the other one. It's all about how when you're younger and these infatuations, you're not really sure whether it's a crush on someone or if you just really like them or you want to be like them. I think it's again one of those kind of gross books where little girls are just being terrors and like running around in summer and they're gross. But one of my favorite book creators, Lauren Louise, she loves this book, so I'm excited to read it and see if we have the same taste. And then the last book that I would like to read on holiday is Page Boy by Elliot Page, and this is a memoir, I believe, by the actor who played Juno in Juno. It's about being a trans man and a celebrity and having to go through all of that publicly. I have a lot of trans friends. I work in an LGBT cafe, so I think it's really important for me to read these types of books to try and understand my friends better and their experiences. I also just really like Elliot as a person and an actor. I think it's gonna be fun to read. Probably not fun, it's probably actually really quite devastating, but that's fine too. So that is my mid-year roundup of my reading. We're gonna try and bolster it by the end of the year, guys, I promise. Let me know what book you're reading or any that you've enjoyed so far this year, and I'll see you in my next video.